And now, of course, it's time for Sick of the Week. Sick of the Week! I wish that I could do like a fun little sassy Sick of the Week, but unfortunately, we're revisiting one of the show's favorites, which is bird flu. Unfortunately, a teenager in Canada is presumed to be positive for bird flu, and they are in critical condition right now. So I wanted to talk about that to give you facts before we have a freak out over this. The Canadian government is trying to figure out how this person got infected with bird flu. They think it's most likely an animal exposure, but they're not going to rule out human exposure until they have done their due diligence to be able to do that, which is really important. The thing is, I know it's really scary to see a critical case of bird flu, especially in a teenager, but I want to remind everyone that the cases that we've been seeing in the United States, the extremely mild cases, those are atypical for bird flu. Normally with bird flu, people get extremely sick. That's how we expect it to behave. So the fact that cases have been mild so far is a little bit weird. Part of this is because that the cells that bird flu likes to bind to are found in abundance in our lungs, in our lower respiratory tract. There's not that many in our upper respiratory tract of our nose and our throat. And so when you get infections lower in your respiratory tract, those tend to be more severe, which is what we have seen, and it's what we're seeing right now. We do not yet have evidence that the virus in wild birds has mutated to be more lethal or to be more transmissible between people. You can bet that we are going to get information on the genetic makeup of the virus that has infected this person soon, because people are very invested in it. I also want to point out that the government has tested, I think, 36 people in close contact with this person to make sure that there's no onward spread, which is very good. And the fact that there is a severe case of bird flu in a teenager is actually kind of interesting in itself, because there have been some papers recently that have shown some evidence or theorized a bit that it's possible that older people who have exposures to older versions of H1N1, which is an influenza A, you could be exposed either through seasonal flu virus or through flu vaccines. That's kind of flu that was responsible for the 2009 swine flu pandemic. They theorized that having those antibodies actually gives you some protection against H5N1. So it would make sense for a younger person who hasn't had those same exposures that they might get sicker. This needs to be proved with more evidence, but it's kind of an interesting thing to think about that the first truly severe case in Northern America is happening in a teenager. I don't want to tell you that you don't have to worry about bird flu because it does have pandemic potential, but it is a lot of steps between what is happening right now and it turning into a human pandemic. So I just think that it should be kind of low on your list of concerns right now. Shouldn't be off of it, but can be very low on your list of concerns. It would have to gain perfect mutations, and we would have to, have an outbreak event in people before it can happen. And these things can happen very quickly, but I don't think that this one incident, with the information we have about it right now, is reason for you to freak out and feel like the next pandemic is happening. If you are concerned about bird flu, the important thing that you can do, as always, don't drink raw milk. You can have whatever opinion you want of raw milk, but the reality is that there is a pathogen specific to dairy right now that could be very serious. If you ingest it, it could make you sick. So you should just abstain for now. Or if you want to buy raw milk, boil it, do your own pasteurization, which is what pasteurization is. Don't play with dead birds. Don't let your family play with dead birds or wild birds. If you have backyard chickens, make sure that they are kept away from wild birds. And if they get sick, make sure that you take care of them and get your flu shot. The flu shot this year won't necessarily protect you from H5N1, but you can be infected with two different types of flu at once, and those flus can recombine to make a more transmissible flu. And I just think it would be a little bit embarrassing to be the source of the new chimera flu that breaks out. So those are all tangible things that you can do to protect yourself and your family. But really, bird flu at this point remains one of those things that I'm happy to keep watching, and I will update you if there's serious things that come about. And I will, of course, answer your questions on it. For keeping me on my toes and kind of never giving me a break, the Sick of the Week this week is going to bird flu.